Go Jackets.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. Well, it wasn't always pretty. In fact, for most of the night, it wasn't all that pretty, was it? But we did what we had to do. For all the criticism you might have for how that game went, the weird circumstances of the game, one thing you can't say is that Georgia Tech isn't bowl bound. This is something that hasn't happened since 2018, and we haven't won a bowl since 2016. We're going to talk later about what bowls I think we might go to. I've looked into it, but it's exciting. To me, this guarantees the season is a success. My thinking and, Sea-Dog, really everyone I've talked to is it's bowl or bust. It will be massively disappointing if Tech does not make a bowl in Key's first year as head coach. Kind of a big ask for a first-year head coach. First of all, first time being a head coach. I think it did help that he was interim last year. It wouldn't have felt right to me if we would not have won more games this year than we did last year. Now, this year, obviously, I didn't know the defense was going to be what it was going to be. Only 2-3 teams worse in total defense than Tech. But as far as I'm concerned, mission accomplished. You've achieved your first goal in this rebuild. And don't overlook, and I know Tech fans aren't, but, we're in a new season, so we might kind of forget just how bad things were under Collins. As much, praise as I would give Paul Johnson, he's a Hall of Fame head coach, and I think deservedly so. Things were declining on his way out. The landscape of college football had changed to a point that wasn't going to work anymore. You're not going to surprise anyone with the triple option. So this is a difficult rebuild we're in. So let's talk about the Syracuse game. Actually, before that, tune into the live show tonight. I've had several people reach out about the 4 tickets in Section 2. What was it? Section 224. A gracious fan of the channel has donated 4. So I've had people asking for different ticket amounts. I've got to think through how best to do that. Tune into the show tonight. We'll be announcing who's getting those tickets. I've got to decide how I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do it necessarily randomly anymore. I'll have to see how many people reach out between now and then. But if you want to go to the Georgia Tech game, you don't have tickets, email me, first of all, wrecktalk@gmail.com that you would like them, and then tune into the live show tonight. So let's talk about this Georgia Tech Syracuse game. Nothing in that game should have been a surprise. If you watched old WreckTalk's preview of the game, I told you they didn't have a quarterback. I told you it was going to be a weird, gimmicky offense. They basically ran the Wildcat all night. Garrett Schrader has injured his arm. He had surgery on it in the offseason. Couldn't throw. So they ran Wildcat. And I said, I think this will work against Georgia Tech's defense. And I think it worked as well as they could have hoped for. They had 206 rushing yards against us. And look, I'm thrilled we made a bowl. It is frustrating to me when you know they're going to run it 95% of the time. And we only had, we had 4 tackles for loss all night. It's a testament to the worst run defense in the country. They basically had 2 plays, some variant of running out of the Wildcat and just throwing a quick hitch to the outside. They'd have 2 wide receivers. A lot of time they'd be stacked. Guy in front is going to block the corner. Guy behind is going to catch the ball. And they don't even have a quarterback throwing to them. Like if you look at the throwing motion of the guy throwing, it looks like any of us throwing it out there. That we couldn't blow that up, step in front of it. That should have been like pick six city, tackle for loss city, is disappointing to me. We'll talk about it in the Georgia preview. It does not give me a shell of confidence going into that game. We'll talk about that in the video later. Offensively, disappointing. Haynes King only throws for 138 yards. He was 16 of 20, 2 touchdowns, and a bad interception. That interception, I'm going to assume, wasn't on him, but it was a miscommunication with the wide receiver. Could very well have been an option route with Singleton, and he didn't run the right route. A few things. One, I don't know if that is the case, and I'm speculating. Why are you running option routes with a freshman wide receiver? And especially with a quarterback who we're going to talk about is tied for first in the country now. And this isn't at all throwing shade at Haynes King, but I've got to talk honestly about what it is. He's tied for first in the country for interceptions now. There's only one quarterback in the country that has as many interceptions as Haynes King, and that's Colorado State's quarterback. Where Haynes King did shine, though, 11 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. We struggled to run the ball most of the night. Their defense was definitely better. Their defense is really what kept them in the game in conjunction with their offense really being able to stay on pace or stay on schedule. But the 11 carries, 82 yards for a touchdown were good. We both ran for exactly 206 yards, Syracuse and Georgia Tech. They had 2 rushing touchdowns. We had 3. Haynes had a good game. But, boy, it made my butthole pucker. We had 2 turnovers at really bad times. We talked about the interception with Haynes King, and then Jamal Haynes with an uncharacteristic fumble lost, I believe in the second half there. And you could tell he was devastated about it. And Key was asked about it in the post-game press conference. I've got a lot of work, a ton of videos to make in this holiday week. And they kind of asked, how do you handle that? You know, I noticed you really didn't get on them. And I agree with what Key said. He's like, look, it's a situational thing. You know, like it's not characteristic of a guy. I mean, there's nothing he's devastated about it. It's not going to help if you go, bust his chops about it. But it definitely hurt. And that's when both Sea-Dog and I said we felt like we're going to lose this game. This is how you lose games right here. Turnovers, stuff like that. Fortunately, Syracuse made mistakes. I don't have it written down. I believe they had 2 turnovers as well. But they had some devastating penalties. It was a chippy game. It surprised me that game was as chippy as it was. Lot of face mask to face mask after the whistle. Not to complain about the refereeing. I mean, we won the game. Lot of jerseys pulled, I think, on both sides that weren't called. There was a targeting call that was reviewed, said it wasn't targeting. If that's not targeting, then I no longer know what targeting is. I mean, I don't. I led with the crown of the helmet, hit him right in the temple. I mean, you can complain about the state of football and, maybe that you can't hit the quarterback, but per the rule, that was targeting. But Syracuse had some personal fouls that absolutely killed drives, might have changed the result of the game. Like I said, we had trouble stopping them all night, even though they only had 2 plays. Syracuse also threw for 53 yards, about 2 yards at a time. They only threw downfield, and they only threw truly downfield once, which it should have been We should have been able to come up with that pick. Powell Lee made a good play on it, and then they threw it about 13 yards downfield on another play. But yeah, we found a way to win. We got the run game going later on. Really in the fourth, the end of the third and the fourth, we were able to run, seal up a victory, and get to our first bowl in 5 years. I will say I was a little disappointed with the crowd. There was 33,000 people at the game. It looked like it. It felt like it. We were able to get loud. It was a great atmosphere. You could, you see Key hugging these kids after the game. There's not a guy that is going to do more, that wants to win more, and that is going to do more and going to do what he feels is right for Georgia Tech other than Brent Key. Can we put to rest these insane people that were like questioning, like Brent Key's not the guy, thinking about the next head coach? This is insanity. This is absolute insanity. Brent Key now won more games. He's now won twice as many games in a single season than Collins ever did. Right? And he's inheriting a lot of the problems that guy created. He's now won as many games as Collins did in 3+ years in a season and 8 weeks. We're moving in the right direction. I thought defensively, the 4-3 is what we need to run moving forward. We need to have 3 linebackers out. Our linebackers played well enough, especially Efford. That kid needs to be on the field as much as possible. Like I said, he led the team in tackles. He was everywhere. He pursues to the ball. He fills gaps and sealed the game with the interception at the end. The one play that they have a quarterback throwing the football, their backup quarterback, he throws a pick to seal the game. Now we know why they don't run a quarterback with Schrader hurt. Now we know why they have zero confidence in the guy, right? They just got in a situation where they had to throw the football. Now, that being said, with their situation, we should have won that game. That game should have been over at half. I mean, it really should have. When they're that deficient in what they can do offensively, it should have been over at half. But I'll leave it be. Look, we did what we had to do to win. That's what I said in the preview. Whatever you got to do to win, whatever you have to do to win, we were able to do it that night. Also, Macho Wreck and Buzzsaw were at the game. Evidently, they fought behind the north end zone. That video should be coming out on Sea-Dog's channel. Definitely go check that out. That's going to be a blast to watch. I know they had a ton of fun at the game. I know some of you got to see them at the game, and I know that they appreciate that. Let's talk about Haynes King for a moment. He's coming up on some milestones. He's currently sitting at 2,597 yards. He's already 4th in single-season passing yardage. He's 488 yards behind Gotze's all-time. I have a feeling he's not going to hit that. Obviously, he's going to play probably the second-best defense in the country in Georgia. He'd have to have 242 yards against them and then in the bowl. I don't know that if he only threw for 138 against Syracuse, I don't think he's probably going to throw for 243 or 242 against Georgia. He will most likely get to second. I think second's like 28 something, low 29. He's now second in single season touchdown passes though. He's got 26. He's 3 behind Joe Hamilton. He'll hit that, I think. He'll hit that or easily tie it. I'm sure he'll have a touchdown pass or 2 against Georgia. He'll probably have 2 or 3 in the bowl. He's got 62.3% completion on the year. And I said in the live show, looking forward, whatever the problem is, I don't know why we're adverse to admitting like we've got to improve with that with King. He's leading the league in interceptions right now. 15 interceptions through 4 last week, through 1 this week. He's tied with the Colorado State quarterback. 5th is Van Dyke from Miami with 12. 7th with 11, Boston College's quarterback, Castellanos. Whatever is causing that issue, miscommunication, wide receivers not running the right routes, or whatever, we've got to, moving into next season, fix that. You need to cut that in half, So that being said, though, Haynes King's had a storied season at Georgia Tech. He's the reason that we're bowl eligible, or he's a huge reason for that, especially with his ability to run. Let's look at what bowls Georgia Tech is likely to get. Most likely as of now, from what everyone's saying. And look, I'm just happy to make a bowl. I'm not going to New York, though. Most likely is the Pinstripe Bowl, New York City and Yankee Stadium in the freaking Bronx, a place that you'll never catch me going to. I'm not going to New York City. I said I'd go to a bowl if we made one. Not going to New York, sorry. December 28th will be at 2 p.m. against Rutgers. That's an ACC Big Ten matchup. That, like I said, that's the most likely for now. Other things I've heard, second most likely as of now, probably Duke's Mayo Bowl. That's an ACC-SEC matchup. That's December 27th at 5:30. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that would probably be against Kentucky. Now, that would be interesting because the last time we won a bowl was in 2016 in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. We played Kentucky, beat them 33. I didn't write their score down. Either way, we won that bowl. It would be kind of poetic if our first bowl appearance in 5 years was against the team we beat the last time we won a bowl. Now, 2018, our last bowl appearance, we lost to Minnesota 34-10 in the Quick Lane Bowl. Just a little history there. Before we clinched the bowl berth, I had seen a few others tossed around. Military Bowl, it's an ACC-ACC matchup. It's in Annapolis, Maryland. Maybe you'd play a team like Memphis there. The one that I would like us to go to, right now I think it's North Carolina, Tennessee are projected to get it. Look, it is what it is. If those are the teams that are available for them to get, that's who they'll get. Those are two huge fan bases, and bowls are all about packing a stadium, getting people to watch it. That being said, it's in Jacksonville, Florida. That would also be poetic because it was the last bowl that we won in 2016. That's December 29th, and I'd love to play Auburn. We've talked about it on the live show. Auburn's had a horrible Group of 5 blowout loss. We have, in the words of Sea-Dog, it would be a match made in heaven. I would love it. I would definitely go to that one. Jacksonville is not a terrible drive. I would make that one. Maybe you play Kentucky there too. Who knows? Other thing I've seen is Birmingham Bowl. That would be the most travel sensitive for all of us. Birmingham's maybe 2.5 hours. That is a pool versus an ACC or SEC matchup, and that is December 23rd. So, got a lot to do. We got some, I'm sure there'll be a Macho Wreck this week. That'll be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of, I'm sure Georgia fans saying I'm an idiot. That's fine. I've got updates in my Big Short spoof to make. I've got a lot of members-only videos to make. If you want to become a member of the channel, there's a join button right below the title of the video. There's a link in the description in the video for that. But let me know what you guys think. Definitely tune into the live show tonight. Tell me in the comment section what you think, what bowl you like, what you thought of the game, and I will talk to you guys later.